Hello, Oracles. Well, Tesla stock is set to pop next year in 2023. We're going to go over why in a minute. First, I want to share with you guys what we saw in the charts today. So just a quick overview of what we had seen. So looking over here at the charts, we've got some consolidation going on. Again, we were talking about it yesterday. We're in this downward channel. And taking a look at this right here, we're hitting this upward part. Right today, we bounced right off of the top of this channel here. You guys were with me the other night when I drew these lines up. So bounced right off of that line and then ended up coming down. So we had a little gap that was created this morning. That got filled over the course of the day. Not a big deal. For those of you guys who don't know, gaps are created when you close one day and open at a different price the next day. So for instance, we had closed at 205 last Friday, opened up at 210 on Monday. That created a gap between 205 and 210. We came down to the 209 level, but never came down to 205. That left that gap open from 205 to 209. That still is open as we speak. So we're looking at that gap to potentially get filled later on. Again, we don't know if it's going to get filled. They get filled 9 out of 10 times, but we'll pay attention to this as we go forward. So that little gap that we had this morning was filled. We ended up coming back down. We still finished green on the day at, up almost 1%, but nothing major like we were. I mean, we were pushing 230 on the day. So we have now come down a little bit. And again, we closed under that 223 mark. That's where I wanted to close over, was 223. So we pushed over it and then came back down. We'll see how we go with earnings tomorrow. Again, a lot going on with earnings tomorrow, so we're going to discuss more of that in the morning. But, just looking at the fact that we're closed here. So now looking at the downward side of things, we've got, if we end up coming down on the downward end of this chart here, so on the lines that I drew, the bottom end of this is looking at 194. I don't know if we're going to hit that. Again, this is just the trend that we're in. What I want to see is a consolidation and then a break out of this channel. That is what is going to signal us coming back up. We may very well get that from earnings. If we get earnings, looking at Netflix and how they did today, they were up over 12% at the time of this recording. So if that is the case, we may pop up and break this channel tomorrow. Totally possible, and that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm hoping we break this channel tomorrow. We'll see when it comes to earnings and how we trade over the course of the day. So RSI is still lower on the lower end at 34.87. And volume coming in today was right at average at 75 million shares trading hands. So that's the charts, the basics of what we are looking at for today. So going into tomorrow, we are looking at some analyst expectations. Right now, analyst expectations are $1.02 for EPS and $1.09 for a whisper number. So we've got many of us in the Tesla community looking at between 115 and 135 for EPS when it comes to non-GAAP. I'm in at 113 GAAP and 125 non-GAAP. So we'll see how we come out tomorrow. Again, I'll go over more of that in the morning. So one thing I wanted to go over, which I noticed today, that Alexandra Tesla Boomer Mama, you guys must know her. She is over on Twitter. She's been on this channel a few times. She had retweeted this from Holger Scheipitz, and I apologize if I butchered that name. So he had mentioned that sentiment on stocks. Let me make this. I don't know if I can make it bigger. No. Sentiment on stocks and global growth among fund managers surveyed by Bank of America shows full capitulation, opening way to an equities rally in 2023. Cash levels. So for you guys to know, capitulation is when people finally cave. It's basically a technical term for paper handing, let's say. So we're looking for retail capitulation, which kudos to you guys as retail investors. We have not capitulated very much this whole entire year. We have held on strong. Big money and fund managers, on the other hand, have capitulated. We were talking about it previously when volumes had been lower for the last couple of months. Normally, we see volumes come back up in September. They never did. A lot of these volumes and dollars went over into the bond market instead of the equities market. So for you guys who don't know, stocks are the equities market. So a lot of money had moved out of that. So money's not out. And looking at this, cash levels of 6.3% are the highest they have been since April of 2020, since April of 2001. So looking at those numbers, and that is well above the long-term average of 4.8%. So what that means is that these are the times right now where there's not a lot of money in the market. A lot of big money is out of the market. This means that we have some great buying opportunities. We have been talking about this for the last couple of months. Great buying opportunities right now. Don't know if we're going to come down further. We obviously could. The market can go in any direction it wants. But right now, looking at how little big money is in there right now, these are the great buying opportunities, because once big money comes back in, it's going to push all of the stock prices higher. When the stock prices get pushed much higher, you're not going to be able to buy at these lower prices because they're going to set a new floor for all of the stocks. Tesla is going to be one of those. So now, of course, we've seen the Tesla getting their investment grade rating for credit. That means that even more institutions are going to be getting into the stock. Talking with Alexandra are probably going to happen over the next 3, 6, 12 months when all of these institutions are going to start coming back into the stock. When they do this, the beta is going to come down because we're going to have a lot more institutional holding coming in. Right now, we're guessing we're looking around 30% or so. Apple, Microsoft, the big blue chip stocks are looking at 85 to 90% when it comes to institutional investors. So if we're looking at Tesla coming in with a lot of big money pushing this up, the stock price is going to go up. We are no longer going to have these sales. So right now is the time to buy. Not financial advice, but this is what I am doing. So buying right now so that when big money comes in, we will be below floor level for the stock price. That is my game plan. That's why I'm buying as much as I can now, and why I'm so excited about getting in at these levels. Because when big money comes back in, we may never see these levels again this low. So just looking at these charts here, he's got it mapped out. This is where we're at right now. This is the cash levels. So cash levels, the highest they have been since over here, April of 2021 or 2001. So we are looking at some awesome prices, even from the COVID crash. We are still higher than those numbers. So there's a lot of big money on the sidelines right now waiting to come in. So very excited about these times to buy. Very excited about earnings tomorrow. Again, we're going to dive into more of that tomorrow. But I had promised you guys we are going to go over, we have a competition, and this competition started at the end of August, right before split. So I had to readjust some of these numbers for split. So whoever is going to be the closest to the stock price at the end of the year is going to win a free t-shirt. For those of you guys know, I just started up a merch store. If you guys are looking to get into perhaps donating a little bit to the families of Ukraine, I do have some merch. That link will be in the description down below. If you guys want to donate to that, you could get yourself a cool shirt, and then get just whatever profits are made from that are going to get donated. So I will also have shirts made up specifically for us as a channel, and I will be giving one of those away for whoever is closest. Now, I will reopen this. A lot of things have happened since August. So we're going to go through the numbers now, but if you guys are on the list and you want to change your number, you have until the end of October. I'm cutting it off at the end of October. Whoever is the closest at the end of October, that's the cutoff line. So then whoever's the closest at the end of the year, December 31st, with what we close at that day, will be the winner of that shirt. So again, if you see your name on here and you want to change your number, please let me know. If not, then we will just leave it as is. And if you are watching this and you are not on this list, you are more than welcome to go ahead and add yours in. So I'm going to go through these quickly as much as I can because, it's a long list. So we've got Steve Gagliano, 233.33. So far, Steve, you are the closest right now. You've got Dean Truitt at 237.59. Kris Kristy at 267. Fajkoson, sorry if I butcher your names on here, at 280. 79 Be Nice, 332. Myself, Oracle Tim, at 336. I've got Milan Matovski at 343.21. David Tillman, 350. Walter Wong, 363.60. JGonzalez New York, 365. Sam B, 365 as well. SgTHerk at 369.42. David Savitt at 369.69, same as Capt Dan. Kairav Patel at 373, 1977 Sith Lord 1 at 377, SgTHerk Sophie at 379, Garett Ball at 380, Marc at 382.50, Anna Way at 386, Fred Guild 395, Michael Latta at 396.33, Ztaro at 398, Filipe Cruz 400, Shakthi Kumar at 400 as well. The World Underwater at 404.90. We've got Bob Ma at 410, Element Lifestyle 411.11, HHBH 416.67, Jimmy Jin at 417, Cherry Sist at 418. A whole bunch of you, James Bond, Parker Shaw, Fernando Moreira, and Wolf at 420.69, and that legit could be the end of the year. That might be the winner. I mean, irony always favors what happens. Tran Tran at 421, Brendon Saporito at 422, Faruk Carushi at 423, JLizard 424, TM 425, Aura Wizard 426, Santiago Sanchez also 426, Hedging Neckbreaker at 428, Lena J at 429.33, Ant-Man 8700 436, Oren 439, Tomer Levy at 442.60, Robert Morales 445, Resolutions Counseling 447, Andy Merkel at 455.11, Tekdov at 456, Silver 66 458, Sergio Bergeron at 461.25, Steve Zunker at 466.66, Pigs in Pajamas at 466.69, Kenobi at 469, Steve Farmer Music 469.20, Quentin Russo 469.42, Jack Whedon at 469.69, El Rosarino at 473, Kenneth Kim at 479.20, Abe Sola at 481, Robert Crawford 485, John Matrix 203 487, Bay Apple 2249 499, Viet Lee 500, Let's Get It 500, Larry Hirsch at 505.06, Puchun B at 512, Alan Smith 521.25, The Cosmic Snail 525, Big Mac 533.03. I apologize, I cannot pronounce this. Ori Jess at 02 at 539.33. Kenneth Parker 562, Tesla Bot 669. David Foster 622.69. Big Will at 690.69. Gary at 694.20. Stuart Price at 700 and Logan Howell at 754.70. And yes, I did list them all off because I wanted you guys to know that you're all on here, and some people are just listening to this and they don't get to see it. So I wanted to list all the names off. So thank you guys all for participating. And again, if any of you want to change your prices, or if anybody is watching this and your name was not on this list and you want to add to it for a chance to win one of those free shirts at the end of the year, you can go ahead and do so. So again, I will have that open until the end of the month. So just, looking at everything we've got going on, again, we've got earnings coming tomorrow. Very excited about that. Maybe we're going to get a pop like Netflix got today. Sometimes I pay attention to earnings and how they go over the course of the year. And sometimes it almost seems like some companies are undermining themselves intentionally, and they kind of lowball their guidance so that they can come in with a better number the following quarter. This is just what happens because a lot of times analysts are going based off of guidance. They're going to adjust stock prices down based upon that guidance. They're going to adjust all their numbers and valuation models. And hey, we got a surprise number. Sometimes this happens. The companies are not trying to do this intentionally, but they do want to give, good, realistic numbers and guidance, but sometimes they go on the conservative side of things just because they think that, maybe it's not going to be as good and they want to be conservative about that. And then all of a sudden they had a better quarter than expected and they come out with those numbers that beat, like Netflix just did as well. So maybe we get that from Tesla. Don't know. Again, deliveries did come in with a miss based upon expectations, despite the fact that they were still record deliveries. So again, this is Wall Street speak. So a lot of people who do follow Gary Black, sometimes Gary gets a lot of flack for what he says because he's coming in with numbers that seem to be conservative, but the way he explains things is just his way of translating how Wall Street views the whole stock price and everything versus how retail does. Retail, we are looking long term. We know that Tesla is going to do very well long term. But when it comes to a quarter by quarter basis, Wall Street is holding to certain numbers. They view things in a certain way. They don't have that same 5 to 10 year outlook that many of us do. So they're looking at these numbers as they are. And they're saying, hey, you know what? You guys didn't hit the numbers that we were looking at in this 3-month period. So we're going to, punish or appraise the stock accordingly based upon those numbers. So Gary just does a translation on that. And I try to do the same on here for you guys to give you that translation so you can understand emotionally when the stock is pulling down, despite the fact that we had gotten record numbers. It's because it's Wall Street. Wall Street is moving the stock one way or the other based upon the numbers that were expected. So again, this to me is just a translation. I know Stephen Mark Ryan had a funny video yesterday, if you guys follow him, talking about those people who are following the technical analysis. He doesn't believe in it. He thinks it's like astrology. He's kind of right. When you're looking at things long term and where the company is going, technical analysis really doesn't mean a lot. For me, I do it a lot to learn myself how the stock moves and finding the pulse of the market. Plus, when it comes to emotional swings in the stock, he is emotionally strong. He's got the conviction long term. He's great. I know myself and many of you on here have dealt with the fact that, the emotions aren't as strong as his are. Sometimes we get those emotions pulled one way or the other. For me, I go into technical analysis amongst other things to kind of say, hey, and justify this is why we're moving in this direction now. But keeping in mind long-term conviction, it's not going to matter either way. So this is why I go over technical analysis, because you guys have seen it on here who have been following me. all these numbers and levels that I come up with, we've literally hit these numbers spot on almost every single time. So it works in the near term. Long term doesn't matter. Stock is going to go up long term. You look at any chart of a stock that's really good over the last 10, 15, 20 years, it's on an upward trend. There's a lot of movements in between along that way, but you are going to be seeing an upward movement along the entire 15 to 20 year span. So if you're holding Tesla stock for a long term, these times right now that we're watching are just going to be blips on the radar in the long term. But again, I follow the technical analysis of it just because I want to be able to see what is happening over that time frame and learn how the stock is going to move and be able to say emotionally, hey, you know what? We're pulling a lot lower than we should be right now based upon where we are going to be going in the future. I really want to buy right now. And by doing all of this, I have taught myself to be excited about these times versus, getting fear and panic. And just this is why I call it fudge. Fudge for me is when there is fear, uncertainty, and doubt, I grab extra. So that's how I do it. So you guys can let me know in the comments below, again, what your price target is going to be for the end of the year. If you guys want to adjust yours or add yours to it, get yourself a potential free shirt at the end of the year. I may have a winter hat to come along with that as well. Maybe for the runner-up, maybe we'll have a top 3. I like to give things away, so we'll see how it goes for that. Otherwise, if you guys have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a membership program. That link is in the pinned comment below. And we also have a Patreon. That link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.